Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today I'm answering one of your questions. Now, this question comes from Jessica. Jessica wrote in, my husband works for a wonderful small business fencing company that has a lot of pride in the fences they build. The issue that continues to come up is customers that won't address a problem with the company, but takes to social media immediately to put down the products without ever having a conversation with the company. There also seems to be a trend of customers demanding unreasonable add-ons or rebates for things that are standard in the fence business. An example is that some people complain about having a wood knot in their fence board, but hello, it's made from a tree. My husband is such a sweet person and wants to exceed customer expectations, but at the same time, it's not fair for customers to ruin reputations and make unreasonable demands without compensation. Please help with some advice. We would greatly appreciate it. Jessica, I hear your frustration, and sister, I've been there plenty of times. Now, you asked really two questions here, so I'm going to address both of them separately. The first one is you're asking about the complaints. They don't say anything to the company, but then they go and complain on social media. So here's what I would advise you to do. Wherever they're making these complaints, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Yelp, on whatever platform that it is, I would encourage you to check out what those complaints are and actually call the person. I know this sounds crazy, but if you call them and address it head on, just say, hey, it seems like you weren't happy with the service or the fence. I didn't hear anything about this when we were working on this together. So I'd love to know what you're frustrated by and how I can help. I want you to be a happy customer, and I'm so bummed you're not, especially because I didn't know about it. A lot of times people feel anonymous online, and so they just rant and rave and complain and just gripe and moan all online because they can say things they would never say to your face. If you make a phone call, it might even turn an unhappy customer into a happy customer and a customer that takes down that negative review because you addressed the issue head on, you called out the problem, and you took care of the problem. So my first piece of advice would be to address that. Now, the second question and the answer I have for that actually can affect the first as well. One of the things that you mentioned is that you have customers demanding unreasonable add-ons or rebates for things that are standard. Your husband is sweet and wants to exceed customer expectations. Now, that's why that's key. Your husband wants to exceed customer expectations. He cannot exceed customer expectations when customer expectations are ridiculous, like wanting a wood fence with no knots, okay? That's crazy. They're asking for something that is not possible or reasonable. So your job then, Jessica, and Jessica's husband, if he's watching now, is not to try to exceed their expectations. Your job is to bring their expectations back into reality, okay? Let me give you an example from a completely different industry that I've experienced firsthand as a customer. My husband and I have a pest control service at our house. You know, they come out like once a month or once a quarter and spray for bugs and that type of thing. When we set up this arrangement, they were very, very clear, very kind, but very clear. This will not get rid of every bug ever. This will not get rid of every bug in your house. It won't get rid of every bug in your yard. It won't get rid of every bug in the neighborhood, and it won't get rid of every bug in the world. So let me go ahead and bring your expectations into reality that we're going to manage the bugs. We're going to get rid of some bugs. We're going to control the bugs. This does not mean you will never again see a spider ever in your life. Are we on the same page here on planet Earth? Great. Sign here, pay here, and we can move forward, right? So his job was not to try to get rid of all the bugs in the whole world. His job was to bring our expectations as a customer into reality. Now, as you can imagine, we're kind of reasonable people and we would expect that anyway. But you can tell he was so insistent about it because why? Because he had dealt with that issue before. He had dealt with customers with unreasonable expectations, calling and complaining. After 6 months of service, there were still spiders in their house sometimes. Gasp, oh my gosh, because that's real life. So he went on and on and on, setting our expectations so that he could serve us and exceed them. And so then when there were almost no bugs, we were really, really happy. So that's my encouragement for you. You know the fence industry. Your customers do not. Oftentimes, they don't even know what they're asking for. They're asking for something ludicrous, but they don't know it's ludicrous. So your job is to bring them into reality and say, hey, we would love to serve you. We would love to create a beautiful fence. Here's what you can expect. Now, I do want to go ahead and call out, there are going to be knots and the paint's not going to be perfect. Or, sometimes when weather sets in after 6 months or 6 years, maybe the posts will bow a little bit. I don't know the fence industry, Jessica. I'm making all this up. But you can just set their expectations because you know what to prepare them for, and they don't. They've never built a fence. They don't know the fence industry. They're depending on you as the expert in the fence industry to not only build the fence, but set their expectations for the fence. So that's my encouragement to you. And when you do that, here's what will happen. You will have a lot more happy customers and a lot less negative reviews on social media because you set their expectations correctly. One other thing that you can do, just as a last piece of advice, is when you're setting expectations and when you're doing all this preliminary consultation and then that type of thing, you can even say to them, hey, we really want you to be happy. If you're not happy for any reason, please tell us because we'll do our best to fix it. So you're telling them from the beginning that you want them to come to you. The implication is not gripe and moan on social media, right? You're inviting them to give you feedback, and you'd be amazed at how much more comfortable they might feel, more bold they might feel to come directly to you and give you that feedback instead of getting mad and then getting online to complain about it. I hope this helps, Jessica, and I hope this encourages your husband. I know you both love your customers, and I can't wait to see how that love shines through when they bring their expectations back to planet Earth. Good job.